2017. We're implementing our 3-cent tax to capitalize the service. It will go away again on October 1st, 2018. But next year, October 1st, 2017, we believe that maybe ESD3 perhaps, ESD2 perhaps, will be reducing their taxes to some degree because they won't be providing the service of ambulance. They'll be contracting that service with us. As a matter of fact, we'll talk about the memorandum of understanding we have with ESD3 that addresses that. Coordinated tax reductions by the ESDs. But finally, when this project all comes to culmination, across the county, October 1st, 2018, there will be zero tax from the hospital related to EMS service. There will be zero tax related to EMS service. Here in Stockdale, ESD3 will remain in place. There's been discussion about, the ESDs are going to be eliminated. That is not true. ESD3 will remain in place for the purpose of providing continuity and the assurance to your citizens that we're doing a good job. We'll talk about that in just a minute. And in the Eagle Creek area, ESD2 will also remain in place because it's providing fire service as well as an interest in providing the oversight to our service. So the idea that the ESDs go away, that is not an accurate statement, and we are planning to have our tax be zero and then coordinate the efforts with those ESDs in the future. So my last two slides, and then we're going to have plenty of time for questions and answers, and I'm looking forward to doing that with this group. Here is the facts of the current situation. You recall that this is not necessarily a new issue. This is not necessarily an issue that has just come about. As a matter of fact, county leaders over the last several years have known that the existing fragmentation across EMS is not sustainable. We mentioned Judge Jackson and Mayor Gregory from Livernia coming to us and saying, hospital, can you help make this happen? So we have received the endorsement, the support of the Wilson County Commissioners Court. They have reviewed our plan and passed a resolution saying that this is a good way to approach it. Livernia City Council reviewed the same information and offered the support to the project because they know the complexities of what's going on. Post City Council unanimously adopted support of the plan. And ESD1, which is fire in Livernia, they currently have it under consideration and are strongly leaning towards supporting our plan. So the important point to make there is that I recognize that the citizens may be learning about this project over the course of the last several months as we announced it back in August. But the community leaders have recognized this problem and a need for change for quite some time, and they're supporting the efforts that the hospital is making to make this become a reality. One other thing that has happened is that here in ESD3, your representatives representing your service here in Stockdale have adopted a memorandum of understanding that has been executed both by ESD number 3 as well as Conley, that outlines how, if this rollback election fails and we continue to proceed down this road, how our relationship will look. Number 1, ESD3 will remain in existence as an entity with an operational governing board that ensures appropriate provision of EMS service to its constituents and provides continuity. CMC will continue its efforts towards developing a countywide EMS, anticipated to begin operations October 1st. On this date, CMC will begin providing EMS service to the residents of ESD along with the rest of Wilson County. We'll hire those staff members who meet the qualifications, including but not limited to license, competency, and customer service. We'll offer market competitive compensation and benefit packages, to those staff members in a manner that's consistent with all CMC employees. Wilson County ESD3 will lease to us its ambulances. There are 3 ambulances and an equipment list that will be leased to CMC and will assist with paying off the loans that ESD3 has on that equipment. ESD3 will help us obtain an appropriate living space. ESD3 will retain the rights to all accounts receivable prior to this date, so there will continue to be dollars coming into the ESD3 service for services rendered after October 1st, 2017. But most importantly, the ESD3 board will continue to provide oversight to Conley through the idea of written reports outlining quality and response time data on a regular basis. This again is a non-binding memorandum of understanding to memorialize the various understandings, and it's contingent upon the outcome of the March 11th special election. So your representatives here in ESD3 have worked very closely with the hospital to help us figure out how we can reduce your taxes over the course of the next few years and ultimately take the model that you all have built here with paramedic level coverage and expand that across the county. So it's a great arrangement, and I think it's a wonderful first step towards the idea of a countywide EMS. Again, you have to recognize the issues are very, very different by community. One other point, then we're going to talk about that. This memorandum of understanding allows us to obtain 3 of our 8 ambulances that we're planning to have for our service. So we were able to obtain 3 of those ambulances. The 4th ambulance that we already have secured comes from a $100,000 contribution from our Consolata Healthcare Foundation here in 2017, and then another $100,000 contribution from Consolata, which is scheduled in 2019. What you might not know is the hospital board has a history and a policy of when Consolata makes those donations to us on behalf of capital equipment, we match those funds. So their $100,000 contribution in 2017 will be matched by the hospital, and that will allow us to obtain the 4th ambulance. So our project of advancing EMS care across the county has certainly advanced over the last number of months. We have 4 ambulances that are essentially secured, and that will allow us to be very ready to begin operations October 1st, 2017. But there's one other element here, and again I mentioned that the issues are different depending on the community, very different depending on the community. You may or may not have read about a fairly serious issue that's going on with your neighbors to the west in Livernia. Their ambulance service, Livernia Volunteer EMS, has been put on a suspended probation related to their license with the state of Texas. That fact was covered very heavily by the Wilson County News. I'm not going to go into the details of that in this meeting, but there is a reason for that community and that mayor to be concerned about the stability of the service that exists in Livernia. So that's a new development that has taken place just over the last month. The probation that they are under started January 23rd, 2017 and runs until January 23rd, 2019. When the state comes in and puts someone on probationary suspension, that's obviously a serious condition, and as community leaders, and I know as concerned citizens, we need to be watching that issue very, very closely. So, one should be aware of that portion of the current situation. Last slide. Here is why we're here tonight. We are under a rollback election. We are in the process of folks being able to cast their ballot about whether they want the hospital to continue its efforts to